Hello, 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 sellers. It's Kathy, and I love to be selling. Come on in. Come on in. We are going to talk about how to successfully grow your eBay selling. I got to scoot in here. Hang on a second. This is such a common question I get. I said, let me go live and answer it for everyone. This is a proven way to grow your eBay selling. I have coached hundreds and hundreds of sellers. I've worked with so many and with this specific tactic, and it works. It works in many different verticals, many different categories. You can also follow the tips regardless of where you are in the United States or the world. This works to grow your eBay selling, and you're not out of pocket. There are people that will coach selling, and they'll give tips, and some of them are great tips. But oftentimes, to grow your eBay selling, to move it to the next level, what they advise is spending an awful lot of money on different things, so that at times you could be going into debt in order to grow the eBay selling. And with the tips that I am going to give you, you do not go into debt as you're growing your eBay selling. And this is actually how I grew the first part of my eBay selling business. So I am glad to share this with you. And again, you don't need an eBay store to do this. You can be anywhere in the United States to do this. It works with just about any category that I can think of. There might be one out there, but just about any category you can think of, which is also helpful. Because sometimes when I'm listening to people giving tips, and they can be great tips, but they're really region specific, like they're really good for the Midwest, or they're really good for clothing sellers, or they're really good for people that sell toys or plush, but they're not good across the board. And I'm going, that's great, but I don't have access to plush, or I don't have access to puzzles and toys. These tips work across categories, and not only just about anywhere in the United States, but really anywhere in the world. Okay, so come on in, and I'm going to share them with you. So the first one is, and this is particularly true when you're first starting to sell on eBay, but it can also work as you're growing. So don't think, oh, Kathy, that's just for people starting out. And that is, sell your own stuff, right? And I can see some of you rolling your eyeballs, but let me tell you, if you have not gone through your closets recently, and if you haven't gone through your drawers, and I actually did this a couple of months ago, you'll be surprised what has buried itself in there that you may have completely forgotten about. I came across DVDs. I came across remotes. I came across CDs. I came across clothing. I came across shoes, all of it eminently resellable. And one is, you're saving it from the landfill, which is that it might just be getting thrown away. Hi, Charlene, how are you? The other thing is, it's just sitting there. It's in your closet. It's in your drawers. It's in the back of your closet. And it's just sitting there. You're not wearing it. You're not using it. No family member is using it. Okay. Let it get a new life. Let it find a wonderful new buyer. So if you're not familiar with this, what I really find is the easiest is I'll sort of like I just did it with 2 drawers that I knew needed to be gone through. And I also went through my jewelry box. So literally just take a box or take a bag, whatever works for you. And don't research, just pull stuff. Like, go through your closet. Don't go through your husband's closet. This is one I've learned. Do not go through hubby's closet or drawers without his permission. So I might pull some things and say, hey, you haven't worn this for a while. Would you like to get rid of it? But I've learned that. Okay. So I go through and literally just put things into boxes, that it's my possessions. If it's hubby's possessions, it's like, oh, aren't you ready to get rid of this? But I literally just pull it into boxes. Then I sit down and do the research. And as an eBay seller, if you just want to do quick research, and what's super easy, I mean, just grab your phone or tablet. You can do this when you're, sitting on the couch or the chair, and just literally the box is next to you, and just start looking up and seeing what things are going for. And when you want to do deeper research, you're going to go on your desktop and you're going to pull up Terapeak. Because as of a couple of years ago, eBay is now given Terapeak to everybody. Because sometimes what you'll see is there's a certain price now, but if you look at Terapeak, like over the year, you'll see like, wow, it really goes much higher in February, or wow, it really goes much higher in June or July. And it gives you an idea of what the price range is on an item. Now, with that being said, realize because of world situations in the past couple of years, is that something might show as a hot seller like a year ago, and it's really not selling so much anymore because it's just not in demand now because people's lifestyles have changed. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're looking at things, but definitely just go through your own drawers, go through your closet, go through your attic, go through your basement. And if it's overwhelming, if you have a lot of stuff, just do it in chunks. I did my drawers. I did it one drawer at a time. There was 2 drawers I needed to go through. I did one drawer at a time because I only have so much time to do it. So I just did one at a time. I put it on my calendar, go through the drawer. And so I did that. So go through your own items and then go on eBay and check the prices. But particularly when you're new, it's a great way to get you selling. And my more experienced sellers, if you're looking to grow, because the theme of this is how to successfully grow my eBay business. So sometimes as a more experienced seller, I'm selling and things are going along, but I want to get to the next level. I want another 30, 40, 50 listings, and maybe I don't have a huge pile of unlisted inventory. Or that thing in my drawer that I'm not using or my closet is highly desirable. Like I can get some decent money for it. I just need to get it, take a picture of it and list it. So yes, I have unlisted inventory, but that thing in my drawer in my closet is going to get me a pretty fast $40, $50, maybe even $100, depending on what it is. If it's sporting equipment, nice pair of shoes, great bag that I just don't use anymore, get it listed and get that cash. Because that's another thing as you're growing. Sometimes you feel a little stuck. And what's great is getting that listing up and getting that fast cash can really get you getting motivated and going. You're like, yay, I listed that 4 days ago and it already sold. And it gets you going. Okay. So my newer sellers, go through your own personal possessions. Just throw them in a box. And then what you do is you're going to go on the eBay app or on your desktop. You're going to search the item. And then you're going to click completed. You want to do completed, not sold, because you want to see whether it sells or not. And then you see what it sells for. Okay. With Terapeak, it gives you a longer period of history. I believe now it goes back a year. Okay. So you can get an idea. And again, those of us that are growing, it's like, I have another 50 listings this month. I have another 60 listings this month. And again, the things that are in your unlisted inventory pile, they might be unlisted because they're really hard to list. You're like, oh gosh, I'm just not in the mood to list that. As opposed to, you've got a great pair of sneakers, and sneakers are hot on eBay right now, if you don't know that. Sneakers typically are not that hard to list just because they're pretty easy to pose and do you're going to want to do the front. You're going to want to always do soles on shoes, always do soles on shoes. So the soles, the inside, but they're pretty easy to list. Again, your DVDs, and yes, DVDs do sell. CDs, yes, CDs do sell, but again, check your titles and everything, sporting equipment, but it might be something that's pretty easy to list. Like DVDs are really easy to list. And you can just get it listed, get it going, and get it out of the house. Get the cash, because remember, we're looking to grow the eBay business. And it's not something I'm having to go out and shop for. It's already in my home. So sell your own stuff. Next way to grow your eBay business, sell other people's stuff. Okay. But other people's stuff, and it's great to be a consignment seller. I have dear friends that are consignment sellers, and I have been a consignment seller in the past. So I'm not talking consignment where so you're selling for somebody else, typically usually split at 50-50, and you're selling somebody else's possessions. No, what I'm talking about is people give you stuff like, Kathy, take my stuff. I don't want my stuff. Just get it out of the house. I'm giving you my stuff. It's yours and you sell it. Now, what you'll need to do is sort it, very similar to selling your own stuff, and find out whether it's worth selling. You want to be making a certain amount of money to list it, to photograph it. You might want to be putting it into bundles and lots because some things are very low price. But if you put a bunch together, DVDs are great on that, like a bunch of John Wayne or a bunch of Martin Scorsese, right? Or a bunch of Henry Fonda or 50s movies or whatever. So sometimes when you put things in lots, books are great that way. Sometimes cookbooks can be that way, French cooking, Italian cooking, or you could do cooking around the world and do French and Italian. So sometimes when you group things, you'll get a better price. So you're getting items off of other people. They don't want the clothing, they don't want the shoes, they don't want the cookbooks, the DVD, the vase, whatever it is. They don't want it. They give it to you. You decide whether it's worth selling or not. Sell what you decide is not worth selling. Of course, you're going to donate to a local charity and see that it gets a good home. Okay. So one is sell your own stuff. Two is sell somebody else's, again, because we're learning to grow our business. To grow my business, I need more stuff to sell. And sometimes financially, I've got money tied up in inventory, right? Because we're waiting for it to sell. I've got my eBay fees. You might have a store, so you're paying a store subscription, and then you might be paying for some apps and stuff. So you always want to be watching because we're staying cash flow positive. So how do I grow my business? More listings, more selling. Or you might be saving up for something. I remember saving up for my first printer. I use a Dymo 4XL. I know others are Rollo printer fans. Um, and I remember saving up for that. I remember getting my first laptop because I typically use a desktop, but I was traveling a lot. So I wanted a good laptop. I have a Levino, I think it's called Levino, is a ThinkPad. Uh, I saved up for that. So again, more selling. I call it my stash account. I put it in my stash account, and then I've got that money for that laptop. Typically going into fourth quarter. And if you don't know, fourth quarter is October, November, December, which is typically really busy for sellers. And oftentimes you want to do more inventory for fourth quarter. So more fall inventory, more Thanksgiving inventory, more Easter Passover inventory. I'm going to want a stash. So I want some cash on the side because I'm going to be buying more inventory, wholesale or resale, or I'm just beginning a lot of yard sales. But I want that cash on the side because I know I'm going to really, really, really be shopping hard for fourth quarter. Typically, that would be like spring, early summer. I'd be doing that. Mother's Day might be a really good time for you. So then typically you'll be shopping hard for Mother's Day, coming off the holidays, coming off Christmas, Hanukkah holidays. Again, the seasons that work well for you, for the kind of items you sell, even if you're a big variety seller. Like you might know that summer's really good for you with back to school. So then you're really looking for things that sell for back to school. Let's say like kids' clothes, teens' clothes, also grown-up clothes, because there's teachers, professors. So you're looking really hard for that, probably more like February, March, April. So I typically always have a certain amount of money put aside, and it's grown over the years for when I'm able to go in and do a big inventory purchase, either wholesale, and I know roughly how much I'm going to have to spend on that, or if I run across a really good retail flip thing where I walk into a store and I see something and I know if I spend a couple $100, I'm going to be able to flip that pretty quickly and double or triple my money. But I still have to have the money to spend it. Like it's a clearance rack. These are great items, but I'm going to need to spend X amount of money. So that's why getting inventory for free from your closet, from your friends, can be great, because you can get that stash for the inventory. So when you come across the mother lode of craft kits, shoes, whatever it is, that you've got the cash on hand that you can make that purchase. I remember years ago, and I've told this story, when I walked into a thrift store, and I think it's either 30 or 40, it was a lot. Donna Karan black shirts, new with tag, with rhinestone. I think it said DKNY. But it was a lot. It was like, I ended up spending a couple $100 because of a lot of them. They were only a couple dollars a piece, but there was a lot of them. And I bought them all because I knew I had the cash. So that's why I always have that stash account, so that when you come across really good inventory, you can grab it. So selling your own stuff, selling other people's, and this is the one people don't always think about. And I think just being in New York, I'm so aware of it, is when people move. Now, in New York, this is a highly mobile population. And typically in New York, people move at the end of the month. They also move around holidays. So for instance, like July 4th, oftentimes is in the middle of the week. So then sometimes the big moving time is like all of a sudden in the middle of the week. We're coming up on a holiday, Mother's Day. Mother's Day weekend will be a big one too, again, because it's a holiday weekend. People have extra time oftentimes because it is a holiday weekend. Columbus Day weekend, excuse me, Veterans Day. All these times are when people move because they have that extra time off. Believe it or not, people move at Christmas. People move at Thanksgiving. Why? Because they're free and they might be able to grab a couple family members to help them move. So keep an eye out. But typically here in New York, it's the end of the month. Okay. The other big moving thing, depending on where you are in the United States and the world, is end of school. If you live near a boarding school or a college, if you're in a college town, really keep your eye out at the end of semesters and the end of the school year. Because the students, when they move, yes, they will often recycle and repurpose, but a lot of times they will just abandon things. And you will find all kinds of clothes and shoes and home decor, just an abundance of stuff. Typically here in New York, people oftentimes will just leave things on the curb if they're good, like they don't actually put them in the garbage can because they're sort of like letting people know that they still have life in them. But oftentimes, again, the way I know is you see the moving trucks. So I'll see the moving truck. I actually, with my phone, will take a picture of the moving truck and I take a picture of the number of the building where they're moving. And then I'll go back a couple hours later and I'll just see if there's stuff abandoned. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And when you're looking at abandoned things besides clothing and shoes and jewelry and home appliances, I mean, you name it, sporting equipment, all kinds of stuff gets abandoned when people move, is appliances sometimes don't work, and that's why they're abandoned. So like coffee makers are a big one. But the parts of the coffee maker will sell very nicely on eBay. The cup holder, the pod holder, the frother, all the various attachments. And so oftentimes what I'll do is I'll just take the machine, I throw it in my IKEA bag. I always have big blue IKEA bags. I'll throw it in my IKEA bag and I'll bring it home. And oftentimes what you'll find is if you break the machine down, this is particularly true with coffee makers, but it's true with a lot of appliances. The parts, one, they're a heck of a lot easier to ship when you break it down. When you take the little drip tray off, when you take the frother off, when you take all the things off, that they are way easier to ship than the entire machine, and you will make more money. I sold a drip tray. Actually, I sold two drip trays for the coffee makers. First of all, I got it for free. So it was like, yay, friends and family. I think they ended up with shipping like 15, 20, something like that. I mean, like 10 or 12 bucks. They're easy to take pictures of. It's a tray. It's a little drip tray, front and back. I think it had a little insert. So I took the insert out and took a picture so they could see. They're really easy. You have the machine, so you know the make and model. Free inventory, free money, easy. And you're really helping people because what happens is the drip tray breaks. It's the same thing too with remotes, by the way. So again, if you see an abandoned set and the set doesn't work, but it's got the remote with it, same thing. You lose the remote. You drop the remote. You can't find the remote. The dog chewed the remote, right? Something happened to the remote. And again, it's with the broken monitor, with the broken set, so you know what the make and model is. And if not, you go on eBay because you've got it and it's got numbers on it and you can figure it out. And I don't think I've ever not sold a remote that I've listed, and some go really high. It's like really interesting. So your own friends, and look for people moving that abandon stuff. Again, you're saving it from the landfill, so you are doing a great service to everyone on the planet. You're making nice money. It's free. It's finding a brand new home. They're thrilled, particularly with the parts and appliances, because they're not having to buy a new thing. They're getting it from you. So their coffee maker is fine. They need the drip tray. They need the pod holder, whatever it is, and the remotes because they've lost the darn remote, or they want a second remote for some reason. But these are all ways to get inventory for free. And you'll be checking the solds and you'll be checking Terapeak so you know how quickly the item sells. And it's putting money in your pocket. It's getting something that's not used a new home. It's keeping things out of the landfill. And you are able to grow your business. You are able to make more money either for paying bills or for that thing that you are saving up. I know I take a lot of courses. I take social media courses. I take courses on writing courses. I love courses. So again, I'll know there's a course I want to take. I know it's X amount of money. And so extra sales, and I'll put that aside, and that's my education fund or my travel fund because I want to go to this workshop or I want to go to this webinar. Okay. So whatever it is, by getting inventory for free, you're able to grow the business, get more listings, get more sold, have the cash on hand for what you want. It might be, you know what? I want to go on a vacation. I want to go to Disney. I want to go to Florida. I want to go on this cruise and I need an extra $300. I want brand new luggage and I want the extra 100, 200, 300, 1,000, whatever it is to go to that. But getting free inventory is terrific. It is a great way to scale your business. It is a great way to grow your business. It's a great way to start your business and to keep the cash flow going, and particularly look for things that are really easy to list. That's what I like. Easy to list because it gets you going. Sometimes when we get discouraged as sellers, it's just because some things are just very hard to list. I mean, we love them, we make good money with them, but they're really hard to list. So when you get some free inventory that's not really hard to list and that's going to get you some quick cash, it gets you going. You're like, yay, yay, eBay. I love eBay. And speaking of inventory, because I bet you do have some wonderful things listed or things that are in that closet that you need to pull out that are just perfect for Mother's Day. And the thing with Mother's Day gifts is that a lot of us get locked into a mindset of only thinking of Mother's Day gifts as things that either, if we are moms, I'm a mom, that we would want to receive. And I'm big like on spa gifts. So I like creams and lotions and perfumes and things like that. My mother also liked that kind of thing. And in particular, my mother, I remember her saying this to us, she never wanted stuff for the kitchen. So in my mind, I would never think of kitchen things as Mother's Day gifts. Why? Because my mom didn't want them. She wanted other things. She liked things. She loved clothing and again, spy things. So she liked perfume and creams and that kind of thing for Mother's Day. But somebody else's mom, they would love cooking things. You know, they would love the muffin tins and spatula gadgets and attachments for their KitchenAid or for their Cuisinart. They would love them. Another mom loves power tools. And you may think power tools for moms? Moms love power tools and crafts and all kinds of things. And I worked in brick and mortar retail for over 25 years. So I'm very aware of the seasons of selling and also all the different things that sell for all the different holidays. And Mother's Day is a mega event. It is a multi-million-dollar retail event and an enormous variety of things sell for Mother's Day. So what I want you to do is hop over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com. And right there, you're going to see a free guide, what sells on eBay for Mother's Day. And this is pages and pages and pages of products that I know from my retail experience sell for Mother's Day. And I will bet there's a very good chance. So one is that you already have some listed and you just may not be thinking of it for Mother's Day. Because again, you might come from a household like mine where it's like, no, 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 kitchen for Mother's Day. Or for your family, it was like, yes, 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 kitchen for Mother's Day. But let's say your mom was not a spa type mom. Like your mom would not be into creams and lotions and perfume. Okay. But it's clothing and it's kitchen and it's power tools and a lot more. So grab this guide. It is absolutely free. What sells on eBay for Mother's Day? You can actually use it as a shopping list too when you're out and about in thrift stores and consignment stores and retail stores, and do shop retail. There's a lot of good sales at times. You can download this and print it and then just put it in your purse so that you've got it for when you're shopping. But grab this. It's completely free. What sells on eBay for Mother's Day. Okay. Great, 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 everybody. But again, getting those wonderful free inventory is such a super, super, super way. Ellen was mentioning there's lots of free Facebook groups where people want to give stuff away. Do be careful with things like that with a Facebook group. I used to source a lot on Craigslist. There's a lot of great apps. Do be aware there are ones that will say this is just for your personal use. They will say there will be a disclaimer on the item where they don't want you to resell it. And I always encourage you to respect that. So somebody clearly states they want it to be for your personal use, respect that, and only claim those items if it is gonna be for your personal use. But otherwise, again, friends and family, yourself, there's such an abundance of place to get free, wonderful inventory. List it. You get the cash, you're finding a wonderful new home for that item, and then you have that cash for what you want, which is growing your eBay business. I'm gonna get an eBay store. I'm gonna move to the next level of store. There's that course I wanna take, that workshop I wanna take, that trip I wanna take, those bills I wanna pay, the trip for my family. But it is a great way to scale your selling and keep you cash flow positive, where you're not going into debt for the new inventory, okay? And grab my guide, What Sells on eBay for Mother's Day, because it'll really just get your creative juices flowing like, "Oh, that's for Mother's Day. This would be great for Mother's Day." Or again, looking at your unlisted inventory and going, "Oh, I gotta get that up because that will absolutely sell for Mother's Day." Or somebody offers you something and you're thinking, and then you're, because you've read my guide, you go, "Oh, that's in Kathy's guide for what sells for Mother's Day." And you'll be going, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." And you'll be listing it right away and getting more cash. Okay, great. Bye-bye, everybody. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling.